Hey everyone. Hello friends. It's gonna have to get used to it. I'm gonna have to just repeat it enough times that it sticks. But it's what I mean no matter what I say. Um so man, sometimes I'm mind blown by how just how the universe keeps things moving. Keeps things moving. It's like just an incredible amount of input that I'm getting. And, I have to say it sort of affirms for me some of the actions I'm taking, like starting the cabaret and just and slotting it in weekly, and some of what I've done with my teaching work as well. It just I'm getting a lot of and studying with Madeline. I'm getting a lot of reflection that um, it's like it both affirms where I'm at and keeps pushing me along. I had a really powerful feeling this morning of it was like I was doing my qigong routine, and for whatever reason I had this flash of emotion come up about um, partly it was to do with Madeline and the just what I'm receiving from her, and just realizing what it means to hold to be receiving that, to be really getting to be so close to someone, to a source of that level of information, level of awareness. It reminds me a little bit of what I've heard other spiritual teachers talk about in terms of the guru principle. The guru principle being a movement in consciousness. It's like the idea that a flame loses nothing of its light by lighting another flame. It's so when we come into contact with the guru principle, it's like something, it's coming through a human being, but it's also an energy source. It's a just a like a fire hose of universal knowledge, universal truth, blasting through a human being. And once we've been lit by it, once we've received that, it's impossible to be unlit again. Again. I mean, maybe there's a way to like go unconscious again, but we wouldn't want to, and B, we can't really. You could, after having that experience, you could really only kind of pretend to be asleep. It would take a massive act of will to not keep our consciousness alive after it's been kindled like that. And so I was just feeling this flash of emotion this morning because I'm so close to this. I feel like I'm so close to a source in that way. And then I was thinking about all the other, amazing teachers I've had and people who've just inspired me and kindled something in me, sparked something in me. And there was part of me that was recognizing that, the age that I am and the place that I am in my life, it's becoming my turn to carry that, and also my turn to pass that down. My turn to give that, not just to receive it. And I mean, on some level, I've been teaching for some time, and I wouldn't say that this is entirely new, but there is a level of like, I think what I thought about, it was, the age of some of my teachers these days, whether they're ones I'm currently studying with or in the past, they're at an age where in the next 20 to 25, 30 years, probably, they might be gone, a lot of them. Probably not all of them, but some of them. And that all of a sudden felt like a really short time frame. And not to mention that in 30 years, I'll be 75 years old. So it was just beginning to really come alive in me. I'm carrying this now, I've had a life where I've had beautiful experiences working with people who, and I continue to have that experience. I show up to my lessons with Madeline, and it's like, holy shit, I can't. How I never heard this before? It's just this blast of deep spiritual truth coming through the form of the piano. And so that was kind of powerful to absorb this morning. It really sort of, I felt like it was engendering a softness. It felt like it was delivering a, it's almost like, and it's funny because it was related to what Madeline was saying yesterday in my lesson. Basically what we were talking about was listening. I think I mentioned this in my post yesterday. Listening to what I'm doing. Actually hearing the harmony. Hearing every note. Hearing the way the harmony is distributed on the piano. Hearing what my hands are really doing. And kind of taking the emphasis off the technique and putting it on this listening. Well, somehow that feels so related to this feeling of the guru principle, of this energy source that comes into life through human beings. Because that's also a matter of listening. That's also a matter of softening and receiving that, understanding that, and once we receive it, it's like, once we receive it from another human being, from a legitimate guru, we instantly recognize our own capacity for that energy. It's not that the guru becomes like, oh wow, now I'm saved by so and so. It's that it's like they use their flame to light our flame, and now our flame is flaming. And so it's just remarkable. But there's such I guess the reason it feels related is because there's a softness, there's a kind of awe, being in awe of the nature of the world, being in awe of human beings, that we work this way. And, then I had anyway, there's so much that came through today because I had a beautiful conversation this morning with a friend of mine who was saying that she read a quote somewhere that basically said, if we're in the context of what is our purpose, what's our role in life, what is our deepest purpose, our deepest, our actual job in life. And the quote was something like, you're hired, You're already hired for that job. The only question is, how long do you want to spend doing it? Or how long do you want to spend before you get around to doing it? How long does it going to take before we claim that job? And so then that catapulted me into another discussion later in the day with another dear friend where we were talking about, let me see if I can piece this back together. Basically, like what I'm doing with the cabaret and where that work is going, feeling as though there's something missing still, even though I've got this. I feel like I've been pretty proactively installing practices in my life that direct my energy in the direction that I want it to go. And yet I still have this sense sometimes that I'm like not doing my job somehow. That I'm still not doing the job. And honestly, I can't deny that feeling. That's a feeling that I have to listen to. So what came through then was that on the cabaret, I'm doing a lot of, essentially everything I play on the cabaret, except when I play a jazz standard. All the music I play, probably 80% of the time that I'm playing, I'm improvising. I'm making up what I'm playing, and that's one of the beauties of that particular format for me, because it allows me to simply ride the music and to let things be spoken through the music that I then receive for the first time, and ideas come from that. Deep feeling comes from that. So that's one of the beauties of that cabaret. It's one of the things that prompted me to want to create it, because I realized this is what I do anyway. I sit at the piano and play for the fun of it. I just invent anyway. What if other people heard that? What if I opened that process up? But what I was saying to my friend today, what I still feel is missing sometimes is a sense of development. In other words, if the muses are feeding me this energy, feeding me this music, these ideas, are they meant to just remain on the level of improvisation? They just came out this way, which would kind of be like writing the first draft of something and then never really editing it? Or are these ideas sparks of inspiration? Are they starting points? Are they motifs to be unpacked more deeply? And of course, one of the things that came through for me was songwriting, writing lyrics to music. One of my favorite things in the entire world to do. So that's nudging me into another level with this process. So I think I have a sense of what my next steps are in terms of that work, and how that will manifest in the cabaret remains to be seen. But all that is to say, that's one day. That's one day's worth of absorbing stuff. And so it just feels like drinking from a fire hose. It feels like the guru principle. It feels like just so much, and it gives me a sense of really profound humility, because it is clear that I'm not. It's clear that there's just always that me remaining open, and me being available, and me being soft, and me being just respectfully curious. That's everything. That's how I keep moving. As soon as I think I've got the answer, which is sometimes what happens in piano, as soon as I think I've got the answer, now I get it, you don't get it. and that sense of like allowing myself to not get it in the kind of bad way, or like in the way of abdicating that any kind of responsibility for it, but not but just always remaining open, always remaining in motion, always remaining leaning forward, listening, curious. Yeah, that's where I've come to after a big day. Thank you, my friends. Thanks for watching. I'm so enjoying unpacking these ideas with you and evolving what creative spirituality means to me, hopefully to you as well. I appreciate you so deeply. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow.